Hello, people of YouTube. If you're listening to me, I have the con. We will be back with you shortly, hopefully. Right, people. Yes, we are live. We are live. Now, bear with me while I get Ben on board.
Are you back live?
Yes, I'm back live, and
There you go.
I just need to get you involved.
I can't see you.
No, you won't be able to because I'm using my camera. Hold on a second. You should be able to see me on. Can you not see me on that? No. Oh, right. Right.
I don't need to see you.
You don't, but bear with me.
You can see us there. Did you get us back live in the same stream?
No, no. Well, it's in a stream called Part 2.
I got you. I see you, and there's 11 people watching.
Right. So you can just see me at the moment. So what I don't have is I don't have a slide. I don't have a scene for you, but hold on a second and I'll just pull us into
I can only apologise about this. Everything's been absolutely fine right until I get back in the fucking UK. And then it all goes wrong.
Well, to be fair, we did have a few problems the week before.
Yeah.
Right, so that's not going to work. Hold on.
So if you'd like to support us in being able to install a proper internet line in here, then please consider becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed donating at kofi.fi/Chasing Dissent. Trudy says it's Adam's fault.
Yeah, probably is.
Adam's having a few personal issues at the moment, and we wish him well. We wish him well, and until those are resolved, we will keep you updated on what is going on. I am not. Yes, I could, but then that also relies on my home broadband, which would be running TVs and tablets and other phones and stuff like that to also provide the internet for the show, which I really don't want to rely on. What I want to rely on is a dedicated line just for the studio and just for the show. So it's something we're going to get to the point of being able to afford. I mean, did you see my fucking electricity bill this month? Electric and gas.
Yes, I did.
It's over £500, ladies and gentlemen.
It is.
It's over £500. And that's, remember, I'm running the studio and the house. And that's probably a big contributing factor, is the fact that I'm running the studio and the house. And I don't have that. I'm not going to lie. I don't have it. And it's a conversation I want to get on tonight. And this £500 bill is not for a quarter, by the way. This is the month of December.
Right, so bear with me, people. I'm just creating the scene so as I can get Ben in half the side.
Yeah, well, I'm here. Yep. I'm here. Both the people I was with in France are definitely queer, but you know, good. Them's good people, by the way. Them's good people. But I don't know. I think we're going to get onto the energy bills and the like. Right. Oh, look, I see me being dragged across YouTube there. Hello, me. But one thing I will say is that we're being fucked. Right? We are being fucked. That's absolutely 100% true. So if you put me there and then drop your little U over the top of me, it should look okay.
Yeah, no, I think if I turn and face the camera, how do I look?
Hold on, if you turn and face the camera, because I can't see you through.
Yeah, no, I think that's us. I think we're cooking with gas.
I think we are off and running and cooking on gas.
You want to scoot? Well, hold on. Let me move you slightly. Just bear with me a second, people. And I'm sorry for this. This is a rare point where you see behind the curtain. Right, so that should be better. Ben should be. Yeah. Right.
Apparently you're twice as loud as me.
Yeah, well, that's probably true at the moment. Speak to me, Ben.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, that's okay. I can help you. Right, keep talking.
Hello, my name is Daddy, and I am your absolute saviour when it comes to playing games.
Okay, so
Me.
I'm speaking now. Ben speaking.
I am speaking.
How do we find that, people?
How does it look visually? How are the levels looking? They're looking quite even?
The levels look not too bad. I look slightly quieter than you, but that probably doesn't translate to me being quieter.
Much better, apparently. Everybody's saying, yeah, good. Trust me, you're late.
If you're late, you've missed.
You've missed a shit show.
Yeah.
But we have recovered the audience quite well, I think. So thank you.
Oh, right. I'm trying to position myself. It's hard because, believe it or not, if I sit in front of the camera, I'm not in the centre of the screen.
Well, you look good. I can see you on YouTube. I can't see you in real life, but I can see you on YouTube.
Yeah, but I just use YouTube for 3 minutes. Right, there we go. Right, okay, so I can see you, Ben. I know you can't see me, and I apologise for that.
That's
but
right.
I
can
think
see you on YouTube. I can see you there. You're down there.
and you'll see me with a delay. But I think, people, you've witnessed history because I think that's Ben's last stream until we get proper internet.
Good internet. Yeah.
Yeah. Starlink would be nice.
Hi, Elon.
If you really wanted to support us, Elon, you would. Right. Okay. So let's crack on. So where were we? We were talking about. Oh.
Asim Malhotra jumping on the BBC.
Yes. Right. So he went on to talk about statins, and this is right. So this is where we were because we brought this up on Sonia this morning. So apparently the government have said to doctors, if people want statins, just give them statins, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to cut down.
Just give them statins.
Just give them statins. Give them statins. We just want to cut down the people and the people having heart attacks. Now, when did a doctor ever give you anything without a proper medical examination, right?
Well, exactly. And the articles I'm reading saying that they're going to give 15 million people statins.
Right, but so, point two, that's a shitload of money.
Oh, yeah,
right?
well, they are cheap. Statins are cheap.
I don't think statins are that cheap.
I think they're about 6p a pill.
Are they?
Yeah.
You might want to check that out, but I don't think they're as cheap as you think they are, right? Secondly, statins are contraindicated for a number of conditions.
I was statins.
Yeah, I know you have a statin, and I don't think you should have because I don't think it's doing you any good.
No, I think you're probably right.
So
I think that probably. Remember how I described feeling earlier? Statins probably help put that along.
Right. So statins work in a particular way, and that trust me, I have done the research. Now, this is not medical advice, right? And I'm not a medically qualified doctor, but I have the capability of reading. I have a Master of Science. I have a BA, right? And I have many other qualifications. So I am capable of reading and capable of critical thinking and capable of applying scientific method. But statins do one thing, and well, they do more than one thing. But what they do is they cut the production of cholesterol very high in the pathway, right up here, right?
Right.
So they cut the production of cholesterol, and they also cut the production of coenzyme Q10. And coenzyme Q10 is incredibly important for continued heart function because coenzyme Q10 feeds muscles that work constantly, and one of the muscles that works constantly is your heart. I mean, I think your diaphragm's not far away, and Yeah, there are other things that do work constantly. But
Lungs.
well, yeah, but that's your intercostal muscles that are pulling them in and out. Your lungs aren't muscles as such; they're just big balloons. But
Yeah.
so you have an enzyme that's cut as well as the statin, right? Sorry, cut as well as the cholesterol. Now, it's not selective when it cuts cholesterol. It cuts cholesterol production, so cholesterol goes down across the board. Now, there's 3 types of cholesterol: there's LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. And when you get a cholesterol test, you need a breakdown because, I mean, I went for a cholesterol test because the doctor had said this was before the cuff when you could see the doctor. So I went for a cholesterol test. I had my cholesterol test, and it came back and said your cholesterol's really high. Now my cholesterol's always high. I've always had high cholesterol.
Yeah.
I goes, okay, so what's the breakdown? And the doctor goes, well, the breakdown is, well, we didn't do a breakdown. We only did a overall. And I goes, well, that means nothing to me. Come back to me when you've got a breakdown.
Well, see, I don't have any breakdown of what mine is. But they told me that despite everything, I shouldn't have high cholesterol.
Oh,
because
no, but that's not right because you need a breakdown, okay? Because if you've got high good cholesterol and low bad cholesterol, what's the problem?
Well, I completely agree with you, but
Right.
they kept saying your cholesterol shouldn't be this high at this age.
And
Right?
how high was it?
I have no idea.
Did they not give you the number?
They probably did, but it's been about a year.
Right, so
I
mine
can't
was
remember.
like 6.5 or something like that. Okay.
Oh, I think mine was like 30.
No, it can't be 30. That means you would
It
be a
was
solid block of butter.
It was massively high.
Right, but anyway. So anyway, mine was like 6.5. 6.5 is high, so I don't think it would get to 30, mate. That was maybe one. That was maybe something else. But anyway, right. So I goes to the doctor once he got the results of the breakdown, and it was actually a woman. And I goes in, and she goes, "We've got the breakdown, blah 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 blah." So bad cholesterol low, good cholesterol high, triglycerides, which is the one in the middle, a bit on the high side.
Right.
And she goes, "You fall into the criteria where we'd offer you a statin." And I goes, "Do I?" I says, "So regarding my other condition, right? Would you indicate that the use of a statin would be good when it cuts off the production of coenzyme Q10 high up in the hormone production pathway?" And she went, "Oh, I'm going to have to read the book." And I said, "Well, should you not have read the book before you fucking suggested I take a statin?"
Oh dear.
So, needless to say, I've never had a statin. They kept prescribing me one for another 2 years until they took me off their books, which I never ever fulfilled. I just used to put it in the bin. I told the chemist not to fill it, but they would because it was on the prescription. I told the doctors I didn't want it, but they kept prescribing it, and all I did was take it and bin it.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because when I went for, what's it called, when they put the dye in, a cardiogram thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they put the dye into your veins and they take a picture of your heart. And I was on the table for like 30 seconds because the guy goes, "We'll put a stent in if you need it." I was on the table. He put the stuff into my wrist. He took the picture. He goes, "Nope, no problem here. It's not a plumbing issue. It's purely electrical," right? So high cholesterol all my life, no problems with arteries. Because you need cholesterol. Cholesterol is a vital part of this. Not your head, your brain. Now, if your brain doesn't get enough cholesterol, you get what's called brain fog. And you stop being able to think properly.
I get brain fog all the fucking time.
Because you're on a statin.
But I want to go to the chat because this sort of rings into what we're talking about here. Because this is why the doctors aren't doing these breakdowns and things, because the doctors aren't seeing people. Look at Trudy. I rang the doctor last week. I've got an appointment on the 27th of January. How lucky am I?
Well, that's actually not bad. That's in the same month.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
That's true.
But I don't know. I don't know. She says I'm always okay. Crone says I'm going to look at my test results on the cholesterol. It's on my online records because Crone is also on a statin.
Yeah. So if you're on a statin, I would strongly urge you to review your situation and discuss it with your doctor, because it's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, my doctor went as far to say, I mean, the original doctor, not the female one, the original one went as far to say as, I take a statin. And I'm like, yeah, and, you know, I mean, because what's right for one person isn't right for another, and that's the problem in this country, and it's a problem in medical profession generally. They don't treat an individual, they treat a disease.
Well, whatever my cholesterol is or isn't, or whatever is high or isn't, one thing we did discover is it's not dietary related, whatever the issue is. Or
Yeah.
even if there is an issue, it's not dietary related at all, because we did one blood test and then another blood test like 5 months later, and I made sure that dietary I was better.
Yeah, right. So the problem with the reason that they think cholesterol is the bad guy, right, is because cholesterol's like, if you think about it, every time there's a fire, right, firemen turn up, right. So if you were observing this dispassionately, and every time there was a fire, you went along and found firemen there, right?
Yeah.
You might think that firemen cause fires. Because every time you got to the fire, there was firemen there. Right?
I see your point.
Right. Okay.
I see
And
the
this-
point you are attempting to make here.
And this is a correlation that Ansel Keys made back in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it all went wrong, because he made the correlation between cholesterol and heart disease. You know, between cholesterol and blocked arteries, because every time an artery gets blocked, there's a plaque, and that plaque's made out of things like cholesterol, right? But cholesterol's a firefighter.
Right.
Cholesterol arrives at the artery when it's damaged to help it repair itself. Now, when that happens, when it's damaged and it repairs itself, it gets slightly thinner. And then that happens and keeps happening over a number of years, and eventually it gets blocked, because a clot will come along and go boom, stopped, bang, heart attack, right?
Yeah.
But cholesterol's not the bad guy. Cholesterol's there as a result of damage, and the damage is caused by inflammatory items, right? And one of the biggest inflammatory items that everyone eats in the West is, come on, you know what it is? Sugar.
Don't know what you're talking.
And there you go. That's your science bit. Now, because you're seriously overweight, Trudy, doesn't mean that you're necessarily unfit. It depends what
Well,
you're
the thing
eating.
Is, I've seen pictures of Trudy, and I don't think she's anywhere near as overweight as we are.
Well, I'm seriously overweight, and I was seriously overweight when I got my heart thing done, and my heart is fine, right? As far as plumbing goes.
No, Vaughn. Vaughn says eat meat and veg.
No.
Eat meat.
I am completely with Ben on this, and this is unusual, right? But Ben and I agree 100% on this. If anything, cut out the veg.
Eat meat.
Eat nothing but meat. And when you eat meat, eat a good range of fatty meats,
Yep.
right? Don't skimp on the fat.
If you can afford it, eat nice beef. Eat a good amount of nice fatty beef.
Yep.
And then if you want to get your,
Chicken thighs
chicken thighs
with the
are
skin on,
brilliant. Oh, yeah.
fried in butter,
Oh,
sauteed
yes.
in the oven. Yep.
Yep.
Veg is not good, right? And veg is not good because the problem with, right, so we've done this on the show before, but let's do it again because it's fun, right? So, animals don't want to be eaten, right? And they run away or they fight you, right? So if you want to eat an animal, you've either got to kill it after a fight, or you've got to creep up on it and kill it because it's running away. So, yeah, right, animals don't want to be eaten. That's fine. I don't want to be eaten. I would run away as well, right? What makes you think plants want to be eaten?
Of course they don't. right?
Now,
Of course, and
certain-
plants feel.
Certain fruits may want you to be eaten, right? Because that helps to spread them further away, and therefore they become tasty. But having said that, we have bastardized fruits, because
So-
the fruits that we eat today are nothing like what fruits would have been if we hadn't bred them into what they are.
So I was taken. Night before last. I was taken for a buffet, and on this buffet, and what I ate, I'll tell you what I ate. Duck breast in hoisin sauce with the skin and fat on it. Right.
Yeah, the hoisin sauce is a problem because it's full of sugar and
I know,
MSG.
but it tasted fantastic. But these were chunky pieces of duck breast,
Right.
grilled seasoned sea bass.
Yep. Right. Well, hold on. Can I finish? Can I finish the thrust of this? Because plants don't want to be eaten either. And Shalini's saying, are we saying plants have feelings? Right. Well, yes, they do. Right. Because if you do things, and this has been proven by experiment, and I think your king will now back this up because he talks to his plants. But this has been proven by experiment. If you burn like a plant in. If you burn the leaves of one plant, it sends out chemical signals to the other plants
Yes.
to be prepared because there may be fire about, right? So plants can communicate and they do understand that things are happening. Now, they don't understand on the level that we do. Well, I don't think they do.
No.
They're not conscious as such, but they don't want to be eaten. And what are plants good at? Plants are really, really good at being fucking little bastard chemical factories, right? So plants produce,
They'll poison you.
they produce loads of toxins, right? You know, if you went and ate 400 raw almonds, you would die. 400 grams of raw almonds in one
I
set.
didn't know that. But I don't ever intend to eat 100 grams. I don't even
Yeah, but
intend to eat 2 grams.
People
of
sit
almonds.
and eat nuts all night, and if you ate 4 to 800 grams of almonds, right, you could die quite easily because almonds contain arsenic. Or is it cyanide? It's one or the other, right? But almonds will kill you, right? Most of the New World nuts are completely toxic to you because you have no experience of eating them before. That's the problem. Things like peanuts, things like Brazil nuts, you know, you can eat things like walnuts and stuff, but all these plants have toxins, and all the things like, especially nightshades like peppers and tomatoes and potatoes are nightshade, believe it or not. You should never eat potato skins.
Right.
Because that's loaded with toxins. So if you're going to eat potatoes, peel the potatoes.
I mean, I will say this: I am one of
I know
my
you'd love
guilty
potatoes.
pleasures.
Yeah.
It's potatoes, but I only ever have skin on a baked potato that
Yeah.
I've baked for
No,
2.5
I know,
hours.
and I used to as well, but I really don't eat. I don't eat much of. I don't eat much of.
Like really, really buttery mash is like my guilty pleasure.
I've actually gone carnivore on occasions, and it is really, really good. You know, you just eat nothing but meat. Okay.
You know what? But that's me. I would say 5 days a week anyway. And that's
See,
just the
that's a great diet. It's a great diet, Ben, and you would be doing yourself so much healthy goodness unless you stop and if you didn't drink the sugar. That's the problem, because you are drinking the worst possible combination. You're drinking sugar and fat, and then you're eating fat,
vanilla Coke,
and
baby.
that doesn't work.
No,
But
I
yeah,
get where you're
potatoes.
coming from.
Potatoes aren't. Remember, potatoes are a New World vegetable as well.
See, I had this conversation with my wife earlier actually about the drinking of the sugar, and I made a tentative agreement that the Coca-Cola will stop until I go back to France and pick up more vanilla Coke.
That's nice, right? But
It'll just
I
be
mean,
my treat.
I've known you for what, 2 years now? Is it 2 years?
Maybe a bit longer, yeah.
Maybe slightly longer, right? And you do good things. You do. And so do I, because I'm as bad as you on occasion, because I'll slip off the wagon. I mean, I slipped off the wagon in early November, and just went daft and ate crap and put on about £27 or something between November and Christmas. Now I've lost
I'm going
10.
to say between Christmas and now, I've probably put on about £5 or £6.
Right, so since New Year, I've lost £10 already this year.
Yeah.
So I'm back on it, and I'm going to get back down to it. But yeah. I mean, it's like plants are chemical factories, and they're all trying to kill you, and that's what they'll do. And things like wheat. Don't even think about eating wheat, which means don't eat anything that's made of flour, because wheat is fucking lethal.
I mean, my rule of thumb is usually if I'm cooking a meal, no more than 5 ingredients in the entire meal, let alone in one item.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
No more. So I hate. You go and pick up like these. You go and pick up a supermarket chicken nugget. It's got about 35 fucking ingredients in it.
Yeah. Right, here's the
If you
rule.
want a chicken nugget, make one.
Yeah, here's the rule. Here's the rule when you go in. If you want to go shopping, and this is like a public service announcement now, isn't it? because this isn't our normal thing. But yeah, right. So macadamias are very, very good, Vaughn. I'll agree with you. And they are probably the best nuts because they are full of fat, right? So they're really, really good. But anyway, if you want to go shopping, and I'm going to take Morrison's here because do you have Morrison's down there? You do, don't you?
I do.
Right. So I'm thinking most Morrisons are laid out the same way. You walk in the door and you're presented with veg.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right. It's right there in the first aisle. You walk up that aisle and there's veg. Now, if you want to buy stuff there, you can buy stuff, right? Now, the simple rule is you buy stuff that grows above the ground and not in a tree, right? You do not buy anything or eat anything that grows below ground.
Yep.
Right? So if you want to do veg, that's the veg you do. You then turn right and you walk right past all the cakes. Yeah?
See, not in my Morrison's. The cakes are right down on the far left at the back.
Right, so if you turn right, the first thing you've got is a pie factory bit, right, where they make all their pies and things. Right, so you turn right and you've got your pies and your fresh, you've got your takeaway hot food, like chicken thighs and stuff, yeah? You can dig in there, but don't buy anything that's got a coating on it because they'll put sugar in it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Their Chinese coating is
That's
full
true.
of sugar.
Yeah, right. So you can buy stuff there, but then move on, walk past the bread, walk past the cakes, walk past the birthday cards and things because you can't eat them, and then you get to dairy and meat, and you can shop there, right?
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the bottom of that aisle, you turn right and you walk to the till, okay? Now, you'd never go in the centre unless you need either cleaning products, bog roll, or toothpaste,
Absolutely.
right? And here's a tip: you don't need toothpaste. Toothpaste only makes your mouth taste better for the time it's in your mouth. If you want to brush your teeth, just brush your teeth. You don't need toothpaste.
I just want to address a comment made by Harold, and I think he's making a joke here, right? But he says, what was it? Burger buns, burger and chips, 3 ingredients. Well, depending on where you've got that stuff from, that's about 40 ingredients.
No, and then the thing is, if you are buying something that is processed in any way, i.e. in a packet, it should have no more than 5 ingredients, and sugar should not be in the first 3, right?
Yeah, no.
Right.
And the thing
So,
is, you will notice that sugar is in absolutely fucking everything. And
Right.
not everything, but anything
but-
that's processed will have some kind of sugars in it because they...
It's a preservative, and we've got a sweet tooth these days. But once you've retrained your palate, I mean, look at me tonight when I had the first sip of wine that I haven't drank for.
He was
I'm
going
like,
in.
because my salivary glands were kicking in big time because it's like, but is Harold? That's Act Factor in reality, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so he's mocking here a little bit in that he goes, what kind of veg is that? Above ground, not on a tree. Right, above ground, not on a tree is vegetables that grow above the ground but not in a tree. So you don't eat apples, you don't eat lemons, limes, oranges, right, because they grow in trees, right? But you can eat broccoli, Brussels, cabbage, they grow above the ground. You don't eat turnips, they grow below the ground. You don't eat parsnips, they grow below the ground, you know? if you want to eat any fruit, it's got to be one that grows in a bush. So it's a blackberry or a raspberry, or not a grape. I'd say no to grapes. Grapes.
You're drinking them right now, John.
Yes, I know, but then you've had the alcohol involved, and you've had yeast involved in the transition process. These grapes have transitioned, so they're not identified as grapes
They've
anymore.
transitioned from the vine to your belly.
Yeah, so vines are more like a tree than a bush, I would say. We train vines not to be as big as they should be, but vines are more of a tree than a bush. Do not eat grapes. Grapes are sugar bombs. Dried fruit is a fucking death trap. It's nothing but a sugar bomb.
I'll tell you what. Do you know how I avoid all of this, John?
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat fruit.
Well, hey, you know what? If you're not going to eat fruit, you're not going to eat veg, and you eat fatty meat, you're doing all right.
That's how I live.
You are doing all right, and that's probably the one thing that's kept him alive, despite all the sugar that he eats.
Yeah,
berries can be good in small quantities. Yeah.
Yes, but
But Trudy, I could revitalise your life, because if you go on this kind of diet, you know, the low carb, keto, and then carnivore or whatever, if you go on it, you feel great, you operate at peak performance, you don't get tired, right? You don't have sugar lows, and you don't have sugar highs. You just run at a constant level.
I will say this: when I go on those, 2-3 month kicks and just drink water, mixed with my eating diet, I always feel a lot better.
Of course
you
do.
So much less sluggish, and that's even when I cut out the coffee.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I have a sweet tooth, but not for food. I don't like sweet food, not really. Like the other night, I had a bunch of mini desserts because my meal was bought for me, and I kind of felt rude not doing so. And it was as simple as that. Somebody spent like €45 on a buffet for me. I'm not going to sit there and eat nothing. So I had a bit of a pig out, and also in moderation. You're absolutely fine to, occasionally treat yourself. Nobody's saying don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody slips off the wagon at some point, right? And you've got to temper it, because the problem is when people slip off the wagon, what they tend to do is go, oh, I've spoiled this week, right? When really all they've done is spoil a day.
Yeah.
Right? So they go, I've spoiled this week, I'll start again on Monday. So maybe they fell off the wagon on Wednesday or Thursday, right? And then they go, I'm gonna start again on Monday. Too late. Start again the next day. Or start again the next hour. If you fall off the wagon, you fall off the wagon, but get back on it straight away.
Crone is
Crohn's, yeah, he's going to hate what I'm going to say here, because...
Well, don't know if it's a he or she.
Right, whoa.
But I will say this. You are killing every 1970s and 80s kid's childhood by eating their Gia Pets.
Right, so the problem with anything that we grow is agriculture's only been around for what? 200,000, when did we start agriculture? 40,000 years ago, something like that?
Well,
maybe not even that. Maybe 6,000 years ago or something. We started real agricultural societies according to archaeological digs and history. So if you've only been involved in eating grains for 6,000 years, your body's not adapted. So grains don't do you any good, and grains cause this big problem with your gut called leaky gut. Where your gut lining's like that, so you see the lining of your gut, the cells are like stuck together, they're really close, like your fingers are close, right? But what happens with what would you call it, grains, is they make the fingers get further apart, right?
Right.
And then stuff from your gut can go through between the cells and into your abdominal cavity and get absorbed in the improper way into your bloodstream and things. And That's called leaky gut, and it's really, really bad. You don't want that, and that's why, to be honest, you should not be eating grains at all. And porridge isn't good for you. You don't need it for your heart. You really don't. All you need is a good steak, ribeye.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're probably right. But once again, we are not medical doctors. We are not medical scientists. We are just giving you John. John he kind of does health because he runs a gym. He gives talks. He knows what he's talking about to a good extent. And you should possibly take some stock in what he is saying. And I can only talk to you from experience, and my experience is when I go pretty much full carnivore and I cut out all of the sugar, as Vaughan says there, I feel like $1,000,000. He says it's true. I've done the water fasting and paleo. You really feel like $1,000,000. It's just really hard avoiding all the goodies. Now, we are not going to, first of all, we're not going to judge you.
No, because everybody falls off the wagon.
Yeah, and nobody's going to judge you if you don't want to take this advice. It's not what we're here to do. What we are here to do is tell you what we know from our wealth of experience and our wealth of knowledge. And, we don't know everything. We don't know everything. But these things we do know, and we can tell you how we work for experience. And I can talk to you also from the point of view of somebody who's on a hell of a lot of medication and is also on a statin not for dietary reasons. And it's kind of what we're going back to. But we do need to move forward a bit because we've got to the statin part, but we haven't got to the second part of what
we haven't
to do.
And we're back to Dr. Asim Malhotra, who was on talking about statins, and we've covered that pretty good in pretty much depth. I mean, we could go into it more, but we're not going to in this one. But I mean, there's a lot about nutrition, and the last thing I'll say about nutrition is doctors get 5 years or whatever at university when they're learning to be a doctor, and I think they get something like less than 2 hours on nutrition. So if your doctor gives you nutritional advice, my contention is you probably know more than he does or she does.
You may do, and also if you want to get nutritional advice from a medical expert, perhaps go and see a nutritional specialist.
Right, so that's problematical because then we're back into the medical profession, and what happens as a medical profession is always way behind, right? Now, that's no fault of them, because when you're teaching people things, you're always teaching them something that's just behind the cutting edge, right? So what happens is medical profession takes a fairly long time to catch up, and it's quite openly said, even and admitted by the medical profession, that five years after your graduation as a doctor, 50% of what you were taught will have been found to be inaccurate.
Yeah, so right? I just want to address the chat quickly, because Jay says, I don't know of your disability, but interested to know what it is. So I have an illness akin to MS. I also have shoulders, knees, and legs that dislocate very often. I'm in constant pain. My spine feels like it's ripping out of my back at any given minute, but I'm not here to really play on that or anything like that. I get on with it when I go away, like I have just done. I ride around on a mobility scooter, pop a load of pills, and have a good time. It's a part of who I am. It's not the definition of who I am, and that's all I really want to say on the subject. If that's because we're not here to talk about that. Yeah.
Right. So let's go back to Dr. Asim Malhotra, who on the BBC gave all this stuff about statins and how people should be properly informed before they make any decisions, and he did lead into it brilliantly, didn't he?
He did.
Because he went on about how you should be properly informed because, statins will maybe help 1 in 100. And you're thinking, hold on, 1 in 100? And that's what he said. He said statins may help 1 in 100 that takes them. But there are a number of side effects from statins.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
And we know that.
The first weeks I was on them, I felt like I was fucking hit by a truck.
Yeah, because you're losing some of the stuff that you need to run. You're losing stuff that you need to run your brain. You're losing stuff that you need to run your muscles.
Yeah.
So if you've got shit muscles, right, the last thing you want to do is start cutting out coenzyme Q10. But anyway, so he led into that brilliantly, and then he whacked them with it, didn't he? He just goes, there's another thing that people have maybe taken that they weren't properly informed about. And boom. And he did it well. I've got to give him that. And the thing is, he delivered it in a really, really measured and even style. So I don't think she even realised it was slipping in there.
I know she didn't know it was coming because she was just like, "Is this confirmed?
Yeah.
And the thing is,
It's
what
like,
we're going to see
and I'll be careful.
Of Malhotra.
I'll be careful here, right? But if he'd slid into her bed, right, while she was sleeping and had his way with her, when she woke up in the morning, she might not even have known.
That is a metaphor, ladies and gentlemen.
It is a metaphor. But he was that smooth, wasn't he?
He was, but like I said, the unfortunate thing about it is, like, have you seen the backlash on Twitter?
Oh God, what
It has been relentless. It has been relentless. People, other medical professionals, and I say that in inverted commas, saying, "How have the BBC let this anti-vaxxer on here to spread his false anti-vax propaganda?"
Whoa, hold on. Right, so before you jump down this anti-vax propaganda
he's not an anti-vaxxer.
right, he's not. The guy's had the thing himself.
Yeah, he's not an anti-vaxxer. And just to talk about one treatment, and that's, you know, and that's really all we've ever done, right? Is all we've ever just talk about one treatment.
Yeah.
Does not make you an anti-vaxxer. To ask relevant questions does not make you an anti-vaxxer.
But
I mean,
these days it does.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but you see, these days it seems to be that if you question anything that's in the mainstream narrative, right? And when I say the mainstream narrative, I really mean anything that's put forward by government or by council or by NHS or by any public body, right?
Yeah.
Or by any mainstream media organisation. If you question any of those things, you're an anti-something, and usually a conspiracy theorist
or
at that
denier.
point.
Or a denier.
Yeah, climate change. You're a denier. You know, and deniers. I hate that word denier, right? Because denier to me is a word that should only ever be involved in a religious context. And if you're saying somebody's a denier, you're running a fucking cult.
Well, listen to me. Especially in the mainstream media, when they invoke the term denier, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know that they are loosely but not directly linking it to the denial of other evil things, right?
Yeah.
Because people call, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. And speaking.
You know what it is.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I can just Jesus. Just
Jesus.
Jesus, yeah. But speaking of denial, you guys are obviously in denial that this show is good because there are 19 of you watching and only 8 likes. John, why is there a black screen? Why is there a black screen, John? Screen's gone black, John. What have you done, John? What you done, John? Yes. John's fucking about. Look, now we're just voices in the sky. We're just voices in the ether. Everyone's saying Chrome says black screen. Web Squirrel says, I think I've gone blind. We haven't been cut off. John's just... you can't blame me this time, people. I don't know. Don't know what you did.
It's not that one.
Don't know what he's
Not
done.
that one. Hey, hold on. How the hell have I lost it?
There was our logo. I saw a logo pop up.
Yeah, I know.
That's your
There
screen.
we go. There we go.
Really?
That's us. Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. I was trying to get something ready for later. So what I should do is go to studio mode. Yeah.
Yes, you should. You should go to studio mode.
And
what we're gonna do Monday morning, John, or even tomorrow morning, is I'm gonna teach you how to do all of this.
Yes, you are. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much there. I just need the slide for the two of us. You know, the frame.
And I need to teach you how to put it out on the other platforms at the same time.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get there.
We will get there. But yeah, carry on. What were you talking about? Sorry about that, people.
Honestly, I can't remember what I was talking about because this was just so damn hilarious.
You're feeling better though, aren't you? This is doing you good.
Well, I'm not sure if it's this or the 2 cans of Red Bull.
Yeah,
and can of
yeah,
Coke,
okay, but
I am perked up. Oh, and the cocodamol that I dropped just before.
Yeah, well,
the show.
cocodamol doesn't perk you up. It normally sends me to sleep.
John.
Yeah, Ben.
When you're on as much medication as I am,
Yeah.
cocodamol does not put me to sleep.
Cocodamol does not put me to sleep.
It does not put me to sleep.
Um,
Jay says, you guys crack me up. Is this the new normal?
Well, yeah, we are the new normal. We are your single source of truth.
We are, ladies and gentlemen, we are your single source of truth. If you hear it from anyone else, it's just not fucking true, okay? That's my impression of Jacinda Ardern for the uninitiated.
It was a good impression, mate. It's a good impression.
I know it was. It always is a good impression when it comes to me. Look, I have my Klaus Schwab. You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
You will eat the bugs.
You will eat the bugs and you will be happy.
Right, so yeah, he did a good job, did Old Dissent. I'll give him that.
He did, but the thing is, he's gonna be. The BBC are gonna apologise. You watch, they're gonna apologise. They're gonna say it's unfounded, that it's not true, this, that, and the other.
Right. So what I don't understand is why didn't they pull it? Because surely the producer was in the rear going, cut him off. Fucking move the subject, change, go back, you know, and she did nothing. She just sat and listened to him for ages.
Yeah, she did. And thank you, Crone. We are great, right? We are great. And we deserve a much bigger audience than what we have. We deserve it. We have worked for a year to the day on building this. And still, you know, that's me being a little bit salty. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, we are great, and you know what? Oh, of course, I don't have thingy on this one, do
I don't know what thingy.
I? Because I created this on the fly, I don't have Kofi on it.
You don't have Kofi, but you also don't have the ability to run the outro, do you?
Yes, I do. That's what I was doing.
That's what you were doing. Oh, okay. So,
My cholesterol's still in there, mate. It's still working away.
I've put the link in the chat. So if you are enjoying the show, then please consider supporting us.
Yeah,
at
consider supporting
patreon.com
us.
/ChasingDissent, or indeed Kofi, ko-fi.com /ChasingDissent. However, hit the like
Is
button.
that .com? It is .com. I thought it said .corn.
Jesus Christ.
Is it corn? Is that corn or com?
No, that's com.
Yeah, why did G. Franklin say it's spelled wrong?
YouTube's awful.
Yeah, their font's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But, you know, it hitting the like button, especially whilst we're live, really does help push the show as it's live.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
appreciate
like, share, subscribe, evangelize, tell other people, because we want more watchers and we want to build a platform. We want to be here. And we want this to be our day job. It's already an all-consuming day and night job because we're trying to build it, right? And it's difficult when you're trying to build a platform when you don't have any money. Because we don't have any money. I have a small pension from my days in the police, and Ben has obviously his benefits. Well, you have benefits, but they all go.
I have disability.
I mean, they all go on things. So we all have very little money. So what we're trying.
This is a hand-built studio that took months and months and months, and you know, every little bit of money that we had to build.
Yeah, I'm basically inhabiting the upstairs in the gym, which is a storage area, right?
I mean, when we moved,
I don't even have a house. I don't live in a house.
But when we did move into this house, I was doing this show from behind a stud wall in my bedroom, in a 2.5 foot wide by 4 foot long cupboard that we built.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I think Trudy's right. We should have a bigger audience, and you know what we should be as well. I think we should be a regular a regular on Sonia Poulton's show. I don't think we should just be in once a month. I would think we should be there every show.
Not every show.
Yeah. Well, she only does 2 a week.
Yeah.
Friday morning and Monday morning. Yeah, I think we should be there.
You know what? I don't want to get up at 6:30 twice a week.
Oh, yeah, I know, because you're a lazy bastard.
I don't go to sleep till 4, if I'm lucky.
Well, hey, whose problem is that?
Mine.
Right, okay.
It's my fucking problem.
Yeah. Did you think it was too rushed this morning? I thought we didn't have enough time to do it justice, because normally we're brilliant.
We knew in advance we would have a shorter spot today.
Well, I didn't. You never told me.
Well, I didn't have time to tell you.
Well, you did. All you had to do was put an extra, line in saying we will have a shorter spot in the morning because she's got an extra guest to fit in.
Well, I thought she told you as well because she sent a message to me saying, "Hi, guys." So I figured she'd send it to you as well.
Well, if she sends me messages, you're in the chat because
I get messages just to me.
Yeah, you're special, aren't you?
Yeah.
Fucking special needs. That's what he is.
Fuck off. But yes, I really do enjoy those shows. I really do, and I love Sonia's reactions on the fly because she doesn't know what to do sometimes.
Oh, I know. I mean, she's like, what?
She just doesn't know what to do.
I'll be fair. She does well. I mean, because she does ask for the topics, and I always give her the topics, right?
Yes.
And she does her research, but there's always something I've picked up that she's missed.
Well, either that or it's just the way that we come at it, right?
Well, yeah.
The way we come at some of the stuff. And we're laughing our ass off at sometimes really morbid stuff.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't know what to do.
She doesn't.
And that's to be expected because we do things differently. We
we
do things differently.
Of course we do.
This sort of camaraderie and this style that we have built is not through lack of work and not through lack of seeing what works and what doesn't work.
Without getting all fucking teary-eyed and, you're great and all that and stroking each other's egos, this is an uncommon partnership, I would say.
I would agree, and yes, I am great. I know.
It's great when you don't work with a narcissist.
I'm just speaking the truth.
Yes, I know. Right. So let's get on to Andrew Bridgeton. What about Andrew Bridgeton?
He's being thrown under the bus, isn't he?
You know what? I don't like MPs. I don't like government. I don't think the system that we have is fair. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it represents us properly. I can't think of anything ever, right, where government's been a benefit to us.
No.
Right? But this guy's had a raw deal, I think. Mm-hmm. Because what I think he's doing is he's actually trying to speak out and say what he thinks, and maybe he's representing the gut feeling he's getting from his constituents, maybe not, but he should be, right? I mean, if he is, he's not doing anything wrong. So who comes first? Your constituents or your party if you're an MP?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. It's your constituents and I would say the wider public outside of your constituents as well, because your job as an MP, what you're supposed to be, is to be our representative. Is not to be our controller, not to be someone who tells us what to do. It's to represent our interests and to ensure that we have better and easier lives and access to things like services. And that's not what these people are doing. And in fact, I would say they have actively worked against our interests, probably the entire time, but I would say even more blatantly for the last 2.5-3 years.
Yeah. I mean, just addressing the chat quickly. Jay, you're right. Richard D. Hall is he's a great researcher. I think he does good due diligence when he's doing these reports. I have a lot of time for him. I think he's hard done to as well. He's lost a lot of platforms, and I think the problem is he's too close to the bone. I think we get away with it slightly in that we are a very small channel, and that we report it in a kind of, what would you say, light-hearted way.
Yeah,
but we're not really light-hearted.
No,
you know we're not light-hearted.
You know, because we are really upset by the state of the world.
Yeah, of course we are.
But the way we look at it is if we don't make light of it, it's just going to be really fucking right?
Yeah.
And we don't need that. You don't need that.
Yeah. Okay. So Trudy says lockdown has saved lives, which is what Andrew Bridgen said, right?
Yeah.
You can burn in hell. Now, yes, you're right, Trudy. You're right. Lockdown hasn't saved lives. Lockdown didn't save lives.
No, it didn't.
But at the time that he was involved in that, he was in the Matrix, you know. And
I'm going to stop you there because I don't want to use that term on this show.
Okay, right. He had bought into the narrative, right? It's the same thing, right? He'd bought into the narrative. And you know, a lot of people did and a lot of people didn't. Well, no, a lot of people did. 80% did buy into the narrative straight away, 20% didn't. You know, 10% questioned more and 5% really pushed it, okay? He was never in that 5%. He's not in it now. He's maybe in like the 18 or 19th percent where he's starting to wake up. Now the thing is, people make mistakes all the time. That's the problem. And people do make mistakes and people suffer from those mistakes. And do not get me wrong, people really suffer from those mistakes. But if those people come to their senses and turn around and say something that they think is correct now, and we agree with, because the weight of evidence says that we should agree with them, right?
Yeah.
Then we've got to acknowledge the fact that they're maybe coming to their senses, right? That doesn't excuse what they did in the past, but maybe it gives us an avenue to say, yeah, okay, he did make a mistake. And hundreds, thousands and millions of people have made those same mistakes.
Absolutely.
And they're all coming out of it one tiny bit at a time. And the problem is, what are you going to do? What do you do? Do you hold them? Do you hold your grudge forever against that?
I would.
Yeah, I know you would, but I mean, but that's the problem. Do you hold that grudge forever, or do you say, yeah, you were fucking stupid, you were a fucking idiot, why did you even think that, right? And why did you support it? Because you caused this. And this is people losing their lives. That's effectively, that's what it is. You caused people to lose their lives. And that is abhorrent, right?
And that's why
you cannot let them off the hook for that. But by the same token, you know, do you want to exclude them from society? I don't know. I mean,
I think that I'm
good people make mistakes all the time.
I agree with you, but I'm just
I
say this,
you know,
you can agree.
No, you know what? There is no easy answer here, and that's the problem, because they've made this so fucking difficult.
There is an easy answer.
No, I don't think there is. They've made this so fucking difficult because they've engineered this to such a degree that there is no easy answer, and you can't let people off, but you can't hold them to task forever. Now, don't get me wrong, someone like a Hancock, yeah, you could put him out there and just forget it. You know, put him out behind the wall and let the zombies get him.
That pushed these measures, I think that any MP that voted for these measures, I think them, they should be treated in exactly the same way that they would have treated and did treat everybody else for the rest of their lives. I think that they should be banned from public life. I think they should be banned from going in pubs and clubs. I think they should be banned from doing anything. They have not just caught the big difference between it not happening for me and you,
Mm-hmm.
and it not happening for them is when me and you did not enact and support and vote for diktats that caused unnecessary deaths from cancer, strokes, heart disease, all of that, did not cause the cost of living crisis, which is going to push entire generations
Yep,
into poverty and cause more mass death.
No, maybe you're right.
We didn't
Yep.
do that. They did. And I think they knew what they were doing. Please don't tell me that they had no idea that what they were going to do
No,
was going to destroy
you-
the economy.
you
in
know
this
what,
way.
Ben?
They knew.
You know what, Ben? I was looking at it wrong, and I'll say that. I'd say I think I was actually wrong there because you pointed out something that I'd forgotten, and the fact is, these people had privy. They had more knowledge than we had ever access to, right?
Of course they did. They had the information.
Yeah, so
saying
they
what-
had they had more knowledge to everything that was happening than we had. You're right. There is no doubt that they should have turned around and stood up and represented the people that they should have.
They had information.
No,
They
you're
had-
right. You're right.
They had information that said
I'm wrong.
and this is definitive. I believe it was from the University of Warwick.
I'm wrong.
Please somebody
Yeah.
fact check me or correct me if I'm wrong. But they were told that these lockdowns were going to cause up to 500,000 deaths.
No,
They were told this and they did it anyway.
no, I understand that. I mean, and we get told that. Well, yeah, we get told that anyway. But yeah, but Trudy, Ben, you're right. I was wrong on that point. There are people that what I said falls into. Some people fall into that criteria. Mainly people that are not in the public
Members of
eye.
the public.
Yeah, members of the public, not in the public eye, but members of the parliament, members of the media, celebrity members, none of them fall into that criteria. And you're right, I was wrong. They do deserve to be castigated for the rest of their lives.
I will hold this grudge against especially the
You're right.
parliamentarians.
No, you're right.
For
You're
the
right.
as long as they live and as long as I live. Because what they did to families, what they did to small business owners,
Yep.
what they did to us is unforgivable, and they had the foreknowledge of what would happen if they did these things. And let me just put this into perspective for you. Neil Ferguson's unrealistic models said that up to 200,000 people could die, right?
Yeah.
Or up to 250,000 people could die. Now, this is a man who's been consistently wrong. Now, the economic model said that the measures against it could kill up to 500,000 people, could kill double. And yet they still went with that one.
Yeah. And the thing that annoys me is they've manipulated the figures to the point where Neil Ferguson isn't that far out. That really pisses me off.
It pisses me off as well.
Because you know, when you take out everything, those figures are nearer 12 to 20,000.
Yeah, of course. And we know
which
that.
is nothing in the grand scheme of things.
And the
nothing.
NHS are actively telling us that if you just look at what they're saying.
All you need to do is look at the data. Yeah.
You just have to look at the data.
I need to apologise to you and Trudy and anyone else
No, there's
because
no apology required.
no,
because
I think I was thinking too much of people who had made erroneous choices but were not in the public eye, because these people had a lot more information than we had.
Of
These
course they
MPs were more. They were briefed every day. All of
what
them
I'm
were
telling
briefed.
you is
Yeah.
a fact. You can go and look
Yeah,
it up.
no, yeah, you're right.
They had economic studies that said the fallout from what they were
Oh
going to
yeah,
do
yeah, I know that.
would cause up to 500,000 deaths, not
Yeah.
from the coup, but from the
Yeah.
fallout from the restrictions.
Yeah.
And still, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, the man who is currently our Prime Minister, Sajid Javid, Matt Hancock, Nadeem Zahawi, Nadine Dorries, they all had this information and still they went ahead. They
Yeah,
went ahead
and-
with a policy
yeah.
they knew
And you know
could kill
why?
up to double what they were being told.
And you know why they did it, don't you? You know
to
why?
look like they were doing something.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because they could not seem to be doing nothing. And yet another country stood back and
Sweden?
did exactly that. They were seen to do nothing. And they outperformed Scotland by 100%.
Florida enacted restrictions for a month.
Outperformed California.
Outperformed California, who I believe are still enacting some kinds of restrictions in place.
And let's face it, the average age of a Florida resident is something like double that of a California resident. So it should have been the other way around.
I'm sorry for getting so. I will apologise because it is out of turn and out of character for this show to go so passionate and angry. We try and keep it light, as we said earlier. But when we've got people that did what they have done, I'm sorry, but no amount of backtracking is ever going to, because do you know what? The damage is done. The economic damage is done. The deaths are happening.
Yeah, you're right.
It's going to occur.
And Tony Garrett says a good point. In the age of information, ignorance really is no excuse. And certainly, as far as the law is concerned, ignorance is never an excuse. So if you break a law, even though you didn't know it existed, like, for instance, say you shot a Scotsman on a Sunday in Leeds who was wearing a kilt, right? That's legal.
Well, technically speaking.
Technically, that's a legal act, right? On a Sunday, if you shoot a Scotsman with a bow and arrow or a crossbow and kill him, if he's wearing a kilt, that's legal, right?
So basically,
but if you did that and he wasn't wearing a kilt, even though you fulfilled most of the categories, that would be against the law.
So basically, what you've got to take from this, John, is if I invite you to Leeds on a Sunday to play with crossbows in a kilt, you know this relationship's over.
Yeah, I'm not coming. Well, I put it out there. I know the law. Ignorance is no excuse at this point because I know the law. I'm not going to Leeds on a Sunday and I'm never wearing a kilt.
If I do ever extend that invite to you, you should probably just go, yeah, this is probably over, isn't it?
I think we need to readdress this situation. Yeah. So and okay, let's go back to Andrew Bridgeton then. So what's he doing? Is he trying to make amends? I don't know. What's he doing?
Well, the thing is, I'm gonna completely disregard everything I've just said for a minute, because in the grand scheme of things, what is being done to him on the basis of what he has said is he is being thrown under the bus, right?
Oh, I think he has been thrown under the bus. Yeah.
Let's look at the situation as it stands. Take everything out of the equation that we've just said for a minute, and look at this exact situation currently.
Yeah.
Andrew Bridgen quoted somebody else, an Israeli doctor.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and has been accused by the former three health secretaries, Nadeem Zahawi, Sajid Javid, and Matt Hancock, of being a racist.
Yeah.
For saying what he said.
And anti-Semitic.
Yeah, well, anti-Semitism is racism, isn't it? They're the same.
Yeah, but it's worse.
Under the same umbrella.
It's worse.
But
it all reverts to the bad thing that happened.
Yeah, but he didn't make those remarks, first of all. And I said this on Sonia Polton's show, and people asked actually in the chat earlier on, where can you find that? You go to brandyoutube.com. The show is Rise Brand YouTube. It's on a Monday and Friday morning live from 7:30 a.m. You can watch it back at any time. I said this morning. Now, the precedent that has been set in my eyes is that we see MPs all the time on Twitter saying, look at this racist message I've been sent, and then they quote the racist message.
You're right, yeah.
Or look at this sexist message I've been sent, and then they quote the sexist message. Now we should then, thanks to the Andrew Bridgen precedent that has been set over the last 48 hours, we should then say those words that they have stated and quoted from somebody else can be immediately attributed to them. They are actually the racist, they are actually the sexist, and they should now lose the whip, because that's what's happened here. He's quoted somebody else. They've said those are his words when they weren't, and he's lost the whip. So
Right.
that's the precedent.
You're right.
Let's
You're
apply
right.
it evenly.
You're right. And let me illustrate your point, okay? Let me illustrate your point by reading out what Diane Abbott MP tweeted today, okay?
Okay.
She said, Tory minister says Jeremy Clarkson was right to say Meghan should be stripped naked and pelted with excrement. Disgraceful. Right?
Okay, so that's now Diane Abbott saying that Jeremy Clarkson was right to say that.
No, Diane Abbott said a Tory minister said that.
No.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. But Diane Abbott has said a Tory minister had said that Jeremy Clarkson was right to say that Meghan should be stripped naked and pelted with excrement, right?
Right.
Okay. What the actual Tory ministry said, which was the Culture Secretary, right, and I'm not quite sure who that was, so don't ask me at this point, but the Culture Secretary said Jeremy Clarkson has the right to say what he wants about Meghan.
Yes.
That's what the Culture Secretary said.
So what you're turning around to me and telling me is not only should Diane Abbott now have those words attributed to herself,
Yes.
but she also fucking lied.
Yes, basically.
Big shock! Diane Abbott lied?
Yeah, but I mean, that's exactly the situation, isn't it? What's Trudy saying? Malhotra threw him under the bus by saying it wasn't him that said it. What?
But it wasn't Malhotra that said it.
No, it wasn't. It
an
was an Israeli guy that said it. It wasn't Malhotra.
It was an Israeli doctor that
Yeah,
said it.
yeah. That, I mean, maybe there's cross purposes there, but it wasn't Malhotra that Bridgeton was talking to.
No. So, but the point is, the point is that Diane Abbott has breached this same rule. I would say we're going to call it the Bridgeton precedent because
That sounds like something out of Star Trek, doesn't it?
the Bridgeton precedent. Number one.
Kirk beat the Bridgeton precedent.
Diane Abbott now should have those words that she said attributed to her. They're her words, right? Because that's evenly applying the precedent. And so she said it, so she should be, castigated, punished, and the like, because that's what's been said here. Now, I did watch the guy that was on After Us on Sonia Polton this morning regarding the legal side of things.
Is that why you took so long to come into the chat?
Yeah, I did have a little.
A little.
And he seems to think what's been done to Bridgeton is probably illegal. And having listened to what was said, I think there's probably a case here. And also, just for the crack, I think he should sue these people.
I think he should. Yeah, I think he should.
I think he should sue Matt Hancock. I think he should.
You know what?
Sue Javid.
I think he should have gone in hard, and he should have gone in by now. He should have been in there yesterday.
But even though I can certainly sympathise on this particular situation, it does not absolve him of his sins.
No, it doesn't, because.
But we can certainly denigrate somebody for what they have done, but we can also recognise when somebody is being accused of something they haven't done. That's called nuance.
Yeah.
Just because what he has done, with regards to the lockdowns and the like, completely wrong, he should be punished for the rest of his life for that. It doesn't mean that people can then go and lie about him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No,
call
you're
somebody
right.
out for the things that they have done. And I will defend even the worst person if they're being lied about. If it's not true, the things that are being said are not true, and I know them not to be true, and I can see that they're not true in front of my eyes, I'll say, well, yeah, this guy is a bit of a cunt, but that's not true.
Yeah. Barry and Min update.
Oh, we got a Barry. Now, for those of you new to the show, Barry and Min are John's ex-neighbours when he was living in France. And back when we did this show when John was in the van, and I was in the cupboard. Barry and Min used to feature a lot because they were bedwetters basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's have an update.
So Barry and Min, right, got
Yeah.
married yesterday.
Jesus, I thought they was already married.
No. They've been together for a wee while, right? But all the time we were there, they never really got on with each other. Because whenever we were there, Barry used to spend all his time in the shed, and Min would spend all her time in the house. Right? And whenever I went to see Barry in the shed, he would always give me beer, and then he would get berated for drinking beer when he went back to the house.
Yeah, that sounds like most marriages.
Yeah, so, and Barry and Min, they just didn't seem to gel. Right now, they'd bought a business, effectively a bed and breakfast in France, right? Which is fine, but why consolidate it by being married to each other? And it's worse. It gets worse.
Okay.
They now want to sell the business
Oh, fucking hell.
and downsize. Right now. The problem is, if they sell the business and downsize, how the fuck is Barry going to get away from her? Because that was the problem before, because whenever Barry wanted to go somewhere, she wanted to go as well. So they went everywhere together. Now, you're a married man, you know what it's like. You need time to yourself occasionally.
Well, I just went to France for 5 days.
Yeah, but I mean, every married man or woman, whatever, wants time away occasionally, because you need to be yourself, right?
Yeah.
But Min was like, not leave him alone. Right? Now they want to sell the business and downsize. And they've put the business up for double what they paid for it.
Oh, God.
Which seems to be a bit of a stretch.
I would say so. So, like I said, Trudy, Barry and Min are mainstays on the show, actually. We used to talk about them a lot. They live in France. They live in France, and they are John's foolish, shall we say, neighbours, ex-neighbours.
Well, I mean, they were our friends in France, and they were English. They sold a pub in England and moved out to France and bought a bed and breakfast, and they were doing all right, you know. But they never really gelled as such because, and I probably shouldn't go into it in too much detail, you know.
So, I think we should probably we're in the final stretch. We're in the last 10 minutes of the show, John.
Yeah, we are. And you know what? We've only talked about 2 or 3 things.
And I want to come full circle back to the beginning and talk about my friend Ollie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he is the prime example of how our medical system is ignoring things, I would say. But on a more personal level, I would like to clip out, or have you, just asking if we could clip out the segment we were talking about him earlier and put it up as a separate video.
Yeah.
You put it out, and we'll try and get this guy some fucking support. And if you follow me on Twitter @DisabledJourno, I'll put that video out there as well.
Yeah.
And we can try and get bloody Bath Hospital to do something. Because this situation, and it's just one person, I know, but how often and wherever is this being repeated? It needs to be called out. It needs to be shut down.
Yeah, it does. And if anyone out there who's listening to us has got any information of what is actually going on in hospitals, please let us know, because you know what, we don't take anything as read. So we'd like to know exactly what's going on. And very early doors, I had good contacts with nurses that were working in real life hospitals.
I had good contacts with hospital executives.
Yeah, yes, you did.
A completely different story.
Yeah, so we got very good information from from the front line. But I'm not getting that just now.
Executive offices. I was walked into the storage.
Yeah,
unit.
but you're not getting it just now, are you? That's the problem.
No, but I've got her phone number. I could call her at any point.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what? It might be worthwhile doing, because I'd like to know what's going on in hospitals right now, because we're told Well, in Scotland, certainly, the waiting times are now at the point where people are dying every week. 5,000 people are dying every week because they're not getting treated before they die.
Yeah, do you know what? Jay Franklin says, David Icke, I'll chuck it out there, he's part of the Matrix, right? And I said earlier, right, I don't like using this term.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, the term doesn't matter, to be fair.
But regardless of that, let me reiterate what we said last Friday. There are no fucking heroes.
There are no heroes.
There's nobody coming to save you. We're not coming to fucking save you. We're not going to save you from anything.
No, we're not.
Right? But what we can do is we can talk to you. We can give you information. We can give you the tools to think for yourself, because that's all we really want you to do. We don't want you to ultimately immediately believe absolutely everything we say. In fact, that would quite horrify me if you didn't question everything, because that's all I want people to do, is have the ability to think critically. And if you think we're wrong, and we even, as you saw during the course of this show, we will even call each other out if we think we're wrong.
You do have to be your own hero. You're right, Trudy.
Do. The only person that can save you is yourself. So I wouldn't look to these people to save you from anything. I wouldn't look to these people to be your heroes. Ultimately, yes, if you want to enjoy them and if you want to listen to them and you want to follow them.
Could you speak up a bit, Ben?
I said, ultimately, if you want to enjoy them, listen to them and follow them, you do that. But know that we, even if we were, even if we had the audience size David Icke does, and we don't, right? But even if we did, we'd be saying this exact same thing. We're not going to rescue you. We're not going to save you. We're not going to be able to do so. And neither is David Icke. Neither is Brian Rose. Neither are any of these people. The Piers Corbins, the Ryan of Full Mix, as you said last week, John. These people are not going to be there to save you. They're not going to get you out of a hole. They're not going to sort your life out, and they're not going to make it better for you. The only person that can do that is yourself. We're trying to do that for ourselves, me and John are, and that's why we're trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, so that we can ultimately get better tools to make a better show, and perhaps a bit of money in that we don't have to ask donations for, so that we can make a better product, and we can make a better life for ourselves and our families, right?
Yeah.
The only people that can sort it out is yourself. The only people that can go out and get something or obtain something is yourself. You get out what you put in. So please just don't rely on these people. Just don't rely on them, because they're not going to be there for you. And please do not rely on us. Right? We'll try and be here for you as much as we can, as often as we can, and as long as we can. And if you want to support us doing that, get us on patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or that's ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. Support us there. We will try and support you, but don't rely on us, because you can't rely on anyone other than yourself. Absolutely. And Trudy, to answer your question, no, we can't go live on BNT. We can't upload on BNT.
No, we can't.
We don't know why, because we're still one of their Rhodium channels, but we just can't.
Yeah.
So we're not using the platform because we can't use the platform. We will appear on it when we can, like we'll appear on Sonia Polton's show, but... And
we had good results on BNT.
We had very good results. We had good views. We had, but we can't use the platform. So until we can, we can't. That's all I can say to that.
So remember, what we're going to do from now on is every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to publish an omnibus edition, which gives you all the week's shows in one go.
Yep.
So you can.
So if you miss them, watch them all at once.
You can dip in and watch them all at once. If you can't sleep at night, we will send you to sleep.
We will. And we're gonna work out a much simpler way of putting it out on podcasts as well, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the audio as well and put more audio podcasts up, because that was how I started as Chasing Liberty. It was initially an audio podcast, and that was the first interview we did, Ben, on Chasing Liberty. Yeah,
it was, because and I streamed it by video on my platforms, and then I interviewed you back.
Yeah.
And this is And the rest, as they say, is
History.
And to answer from earlier on, I think it was Trudy that said, "You still got tinsel, for God's sake." And
Shh.
And-
Ben. Cut. We do not mention that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, exactly.
And Trudy says, "Great show tonight. The tech issues make it more entertaining."
Yeah, see, this is the problem, because the tech issues make it really difficult for me, because see, when I'm on a roll,
Yeah.
I get really, really pissed off when we get interrupted. And
I know.
it seems to... yeah,
It always seems to work out better for us as well, doesn't it?
It does seem to work out better, but it really pisses me off, because I find it, and maybe I'm just being like the talent, you know? I just don't like being interrupted when I'm in full flow.
I mean, I will say this. It has been a breath of fresh air to not produce.
Well, Jay, I'm looking at this on YouTube and it's looking absolutely fine. So if it's breaking up, I think you need to look at your own download first, mate. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
it might be you. If it's us, we'll do what we can. But at the moment we're on really good hardline upload and download speeds.
And look at that. When I'm not doing the show and the producing and the production, I'm still here.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll sort it out. We'll get back to the previously high production values we had with Ben.
Yeah, I will
get there.
give you a tutorial.
Yeah, we'll get there. And I think we had a good week this week.
Yeah.
With me doing the shows, I don't think we had any interruptions, so I think we can take that as a plus.
And you know what? I really enjoyed the show we did on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Even though I was doing it from my phone in the Disney Sequoia
Oh.
Lodge Hotel.
Ben, if you remember, I used to regularly come in from the phone in the car or in the van or whatever. You know, I used to regularly come in over the phone and dodgy connections, and it was really good. And I it doesn't matter who does it. It really doesn't, as long as it gets out there. I think that's the main thing, because we are a valuable voice in this environment of misinformation.
We are a small voice, but
Yeah.
hopefully with your help we can grow that. And the share button is very important. The like button is very important, and your subscription is very, very important. Just your support in general is really appreciated. And on that note, we have run a minute over, so you're getting extra value for your not money.
And you're going to get the full outro again. Now, this is the new outro for the daytime show. So you got it as an intro and you're getting it as an outro. That's a special treat for you. This doesn't mean this is your intro and outro. You might be getting something extra special. So remember, thank you for coming to watch us on All In every Friday night at 9 o'clock. And it's been great for you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.